Peace, family. Y'all know who it is. It's Bakari Lumumba, the progenitor of LumumbaSpeaks.com, a Black empowerment initiative where we believe we could gain a competitive advantage by always betting on Black. Back once again with another video. Before we get started and dive right in, make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. So we're back once again with another video where we're honoring Women's History Month right now. Before we get started into Women's History Month, I hope that you all had a great Pan-African History Month, as we believe that Black history is what? Pan-African history and, of course, world history, right? And so we hope that you're celebrating Black history and honoring Black history and practicing Black history and making sure that you are going to be Black history 24/7, 365. But with that said, so we're honoring Women's History Month, but we're really honoring what? Black women's history, right? Because, of course, as you know, over here, we believe in always betting on Black. So before we get started, just a brief history about Women's History Month. Many people may not know that Women's History Month actually began as a result of International Women's Day that began in 1911, which was an international day to honor women's global struggle, right? So we're talking about suffrage, human rights, women's rights, reproductive rights, etc. That morphed into, of course, Women's History Week in 1980. And then in 1987, it became Women's History Month. Now, I think this is very important because oftentimes we hear people who push back against Black History Month. As you all know, I believe that we should never, as Malcolm X stated many years ago, view entertainers as leaders. And as you all may know or may not know, there was an entertainer who was in the news and stating, why do we have a Black History Month? They're simply trying to separate us. Well, as you all know, here at Lumumba Speaks, we do not engage in integrationist politics or integrationist talking points. The reality situation is, from a Black-minded standpoint, from a Black nationalist or Pan-African standpoint, we believe that we are what? A distinct people with a unique history, heritage, culture, and that we should organize ourselves around those distinct issues and distinct what? Individualities, right? The same way Jewish people do, the same way Arabs do, the same way Chinese people do, the same way white folks do, the same way Latinos do. We have to organize ourselves around who we are as a people. And so I would argue that anyone who is saying they're trying to separate us, anyone who's trying to be part of the dominant society, is not someone who is thinking in terms of doing for self. This is not someone who has a revolutionary type mindset. This is someone that I would argue, as Haki Armadabuti did in his seminal book that came out in 1991, Black Men, Obsolete, Single, Dangerous, The Black Family in Transition, that many of our people have a riot accommodationist type mindset where we're trying to accommodate white power, accommodate white supremacy. And as a result, when something does happen, because we haven't done our due diligence to what? Prevent problems from taking place, then we have this riot mindset where we want to go out and burn our entire communities down. So of course, at Lumumba Speaks, we don't believe in that. We believe in being Black-minded, and that the best form of being Black-minded is promoting and advocating and practicing and gaining Black power. So with that being said, when we're honoring really Black Women's History Month, of course, over here, that's how we do it. We're going to have a 3-part series where we're honoring, entitled Sisters in the Struggle, where we're looking at Black women during Antiquity, the Middle Ages, and of course, modern history. Why is this important? As you all know, I have a beautiful daughter, Hi Z, right? But the other issue is that historically, when we've chronicled Black history, there's a great book entitled The Women Are Right, The Women Are White, The Blacks Are Men, but some of us are brave. And so as a result, what we tend to see is that when we're studying Black issues, Black history, Black sociology, Black politics, Black economics, etc., that the story tends to center primarily on men, right? And I'm not one to believe in the gender divide, but we know if we look at some of our movements, such as the civil rights and the Black Power movement, Black women face a glass ceiling. And so I think this series, looking at Sisters in the Struggle, will be able to show us that Black women historically have always been able to be powerful, dynamic, beautiful, intellectually astute women, right? In not only our societies, but globally, right? We can look at someone like Queen Nefertiti, who was a co-regent with Pharaoh Akhenaten, right? Who was the first to believe in monotheism. We look at someone like the Queen of Sheba. We can look at the Queen Nzingas of the world, the Queen Candaces of Merowe, right? And so what we want to do is make sure that we're promoting a balanced perspective when we talk about Black history. And secondly, I think it's very important that we always have people push back against what? Black History Month, right? Well, why do we have a Black History Month? And I always say, hey, I can take that argument seriously if you keep that same energy with what? Women's History Month, Latino History Month, Jewish History Month, LGBTQ History Month, etc., and on down the line. So if you keep that energy with all the identity-based history months, I could take you serious. But as we know, that's not the case. Individuals are simply trying to engage in anti-Black racism, and so we're not going to go for that. But as I said, 3-part series, acknowledging sisters in the struggle, where we're going to chronicle the history of Black women in antiquity, the Middle Ages, and of course, modern history. Until next time, peace. Before you go, make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you for supporting the channel. And remember, here at Lumumba Speaks, we always bet on Black. Peace.